Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS and Ascension. And finally, after all of our struggles, not only on this level, but throughout Watcher's Keep as a whole, we are now going to be able to open the final portal leading us to the Imprisoned One. There we go, and Saravok leveled off of that, and Imoen had a level up to do from earlier, so let's do those. She is going to get a weapon proficiency point, which at this point it really doesn't matter what we give her. We could go into slings, but I think what I'm going to do here is actually give her a point into long swords, because she is eventually going to end up with a strength belt, I think. And if we equip her similarly to how she was equipped in recent episodes with Equalizer or Paradan, she might be able to actually do a successful attack here and there. So we'll try that out. And now, Saravok, before we actually do his level up, I just wanted to mention something, that he is lagging quite a bit behind everyone else in experience. Even Imoen has around 500,000 more experience than him, and generally our characters have around 6 million experience, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, and he doesn't even have 5 million. So he still has quite a few level ups left in him, and because of that I think we're going to start up a new path leading to Smite when it comes to his high-level abilities. But I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself because, again, we have this really important proficiency point on another character of ours, and this one is going to be able to complete his Grand Mastery in halberds, so he is soon going to be able to wield the upgraded Ravager. And yeah, when it comes to his high-level abilities, instead of giving him more hardiness or greater whirlwinds, which I think would be, well, would be probably more optimal considering how much game we have left, which is not that much. So even though he is far from the experience cap of the game, the amount of experience that we're going to get in our playthrough is limited, but I think it's going to be beneficial to have another character with Smite and Power Attack, Critical Strike. Those might serve him well still. Alright, so now let's step through that portal and see what awaits us on the other side.
Dare to approach, mortal.
As you step into the chamber, a feeling of palpable power washes over you. You get a sensation that something has turned its attention towards you, gaining an alien interest in your presence that forces your insides to clench reflexively. By the way, a really cool looking area here with these chains. Not holding anything anymore, not holding any creature captive, it seems. You do not see anything physical within the chamber, but you feel its presence all around you. A phantasmal hand brushes your cheek, a curious gesture that startles you and is gone just as quickly. Best be wary, Seneshira. There is a presence that fills this room that I can tell little about. Ancient, powerful, evil? I do not think so. And if you know the game, you might think that Animan here is a big dummy, not sensing the evil here, but this is actually kind of true to the lore and a testament to the power of this being imprisoned here, that he is able to conceal his nature very well. The presence then moves away slightly, as if considering. You hear it speak within your mind. Its speech, however, is not in words. It is a mix of indecipherable emotions that burn across your brain, leaving an impression that is clear. I am the Imprisoned One. You intrude upon my solace, mortal. I really like these descriptions. This is a completely different way of communicating, and this is going to be, well, soon we're going to have a little reference to something that we have heard before. What are you? Why have you been imprisoned here? Impressions assault your mind briefly, knowing amusement combined with bitterness in images that your mind's eye refuses to recognize and turns away from. And I was talking about this thing. If you remember our hell trials at the end of Shadows of Amn, sometimes the fiends there would tell us that mortals can sometimes possess more power that they can comprehend, and basically how this pocket of hell that we were in looked for us, and how these tests were constructed was for basically our mortal minds to understand and comprehend. It was basically a version of our inner struggles presented in some kind of physical form. And this already is kind of like a bit of a reference here, that he is trying to present us some kind of images that we don't really understand with our mortal, limited minds. Deeper impressions instill a sense of one name that the being prefers, one that applies to you and it both. Prisoner. I'm no prisoner here. What do you imply? Low power suddenly thrums throughout the room as the presence gains a measure of respect for your willingness to listen. Faint anger and outrage flood through you, directed towards something other than yourself. It is simple, your mind interprets. You are being deceived. Another image forms in your mind, and you recognize dour men in armor, and further behind them lurks a sinister purpose. Hellmites, you are told, the Knights of the Vigil. There is bitterness and anger in the presence as it conveys its unjust imprisonment by a sect who do not worship Helm at all, but secretly take succor from Helm's darkest enemies. You are told that this is why the Imprisoned One is kept here, to keep this secret, or their secret. Echoes stir in your mind as it asks why you think the Knights would send you into this place instead of coming themselves. You are told to ask yourself what will occur when the seals are strengthened. Impressions of amusement swirl as you are asked if you believe the holy symbol will truly let you leave then. Why should I trust you? The Knights have given me no reason to be suspicious. An alien chuckling rings through your head as the presence draws closer. It smells murder on you and names you as the spawn of Baal, a being to be feared. What better a pawn for the false Hellmites to send for this task? Why imprison only one dangerous being? Why not imprison two? And basically we can either confront this being already, we can already agree to cooperate with it, but I think it's going to be a more complete view of the situation if we just don't trust it. We have no reason to trust it more than the Hellmites. And just read the scroll, strengthening the seal. But this is something that the Imprisoned One... this is something that might be true, I guess, when it comes to his words, because we have already stumbled upon that journal note from Sir Caltharine on the 3rd level of Watcher's Keep that mentioned the treacherous Knights of the Vigil. So we remember about that, and we are wary of the Knights of the Vigil. We don't really trust them too much either, but let's first do what we came here to do. The presence reels from your mind with disdain and outrage, settling to amused acceptance. It calmly tells you to read the scroll of the false Hellmites, but warns you not to be surprised if the results are not what you expect. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Anyway, we have our scroll. By the way, I have re-equipped our party members quite a bit in between episodes, and we're going to get to that. Here's that ritual scroll. We get a lot of experience for that. The currents in the room waver as feelings of resentment laced with amusement wash over you. You interpret the sensations as the Imprisoned One's congratulations. The seals are renewed. It tells you to attempt to exit now, and to come back to it when you fail. This is what comes of trusting those Hellmite fools. I have little doubt this presence speaks the truth. What has it to lose? The Knights of the Vigil would never do such a thing as it suggests. Let us leave now and prove it wrong, Senashira. Sir Animan, in general, very fittingly has a lot of different interjections when it comes to the Knights of the Vigil, and some conversation paths that we can explore a little bit later. I have a bad feeling about this. Yep. By the way, let's just look around this room. It's really cool looking. We can also inspect this bell here. The bell swings soundlessly, seemingly supported by some invisible force. An inscription on the wall reads, "Beware, all mortal, and heed these words. Keep well the ritual, and still shall sit the bell. But should the Imprisoned One break his bonds, the bell shall ring out warning to Helm. He shall know thou hast failed in thy duty, and his anger will burn like the midday sun." And the bell is indeed swinging over there, so situation is not good. And yeah, as you can see, these portals here are deactivated, so the Imprisoned One was right. And in general, when it comes to what he says, there is some truth to his words, but true to his nature, as we will find out. He kind of meanders around and speaks in half-truths, rather than, of course, presenting a true enough picture. Anyway, we're going to talk to him again then. The presence dances about you with amused chitters. It knows that the exits are closed to you now. Ballspawn and Imprisoned One together, two dangerous entities locked away for the price of one. Perhaps now you are convinced that the false Hellmites intended this all along. Well, what do you propose then? The presence is now far more intent, hope seizing upon opportunity. You have been deceived, you are told. You know that now. Deceived by the unworthy false Hellmites, just as they imprisoned it. It wishes to be free, and it also wishes revenge. More images flood in, telling you that the Imprisoned One has been slowly marshalling its power to free itself, a process that would take an eon all told. But it has enough power now to open the smallest of holes in the seal, not enough for it, but enough for you. Pleased images swirl in your mind, telling you to go to the Knights of the Vigil and tell their leader that the Imprisoned One is destroyed. Then it may have its revenge. With his death, it will be free, and it will reward you handsomely. Indeed, various fleeting images hint to you that it has knowledge of how to unlock the powers of Baal within you. Alright, we will have to cooperate with it to get outside. Yeah, so the Imprisoned One ensures that the portals are operational now. And we are going to be able to go outside. And now I'm going to make a quick save here for some other outcomes to show you, kind of as a bonus after this episode ends. We are going to have a nice little bonus with some action. But yeah, first let's go up.
You return. We sensed that the lower vault had been breached. What has occurred? Did you not cast the ritual?
And speak with Odrin here. Oh, I cast your ritual, all right. Imagine my surprise to find myself entombed along with your Imprisoned One. But if you are here, that means the Imprisoned One is destroyed? No! Helm's mercy, no! To destroy him is to free him, to send him back to the abyss. Snashira, tell me this is not so. And basically here, we have a couple of options. We are going to explore this one later, where we just kind of are up front with him, and that he sent us to trick the Knights of the Vigil, but we are not going to do that, and that leads to some other outcomes. But basically, if we don't even go with this one, to like, oh yeah, go see for yourself, he's dead, alright. Even if we don't try to trick them, really, but to just seek answers, they are going to be so eager to go down there and check what's happened that this is going to lead to the same outcome here. And I think this is going to be the most fitting also when it comes to presenting the complete story. So we're going to go with this one. The Abyss, eh? Just how much did you not tell me about this Imprisoned One? It is true, Senashira, I deceived you, for I believed it was necessary. But if you have destroyed the Imprisoned One, then all is for naught. He will be free, and Helm's wrath shall be great. Come, my brethren, we must venture into the lower vault now that the Ballspawn has cleared the way. We must see for ourselves if the Imprisoned One is truly dead or not. You knew not what you did, Senashira, so your foolishness can be forgiven, I am sure. Farewell to you. Yeah. Imoen, as usual, presenting a good interjection. Let's move in.
Ah, a child of Baal. So the time has come for thee already, has it? How sad that it is mine own brethren of this time that have fallen so far from the Helm's path.
Some kind of ghostly apparition.
When Helm came to us so long ago, we could not refuse our duty. I, and many of my brethren, gave our own lives willingly to guard this place. A task now almost finished. The brother Odrin has shown cowardice and dishonesty in his dealings with thee. In the eyes of Helm, his fate is sealed. Will you aid a Knight of the Vigil true?
Yeah, so this is kind of a spirit of one of the Knights of the Vigil from like earlier ages, I guess. Why should I trust you? You could be trying to manipulate me just like Odrin.
Aye, 'tis true. Thou hast many reasons to believe I am doing other than being honest with thee. I can do naught, however, but tell thee the simple truths, and abide by thy decision. Wilt thou listen?
Very well.
The Knight Odrin has not been honest with thee. Thou knowest this. The ritual repairs the old seals, trapping the Imprisoned One, as well as the one who reads the ritual. Odrin intended it be thee to sacrifice thy life, rather than make his own sacrifice willingly. He also failed to tell thee the scope of the evil that lies within. The Imprisoned One is Demogorgon, Prince of Demons.
Whoa, now the plot thickens. Now we know the name of our enemy. Demogorgon, Prince of Demons. And yeah, basically we're going to talk about Demogorgon, of course, a little bit later. But just to mention something about him, we have already seen a statue of him. If you remember our adventures in the Underdark, in the western tunnels with the Kuatoa, there was one chamber where we were able to summon some demon knights at the altar of Demogorgon. So we have already heard about him, and there we sacrificed a creature at this altar. But now we are going to sacrifice him on the altar of our righteousness. Wow, that was deep. That was profound. But anyway, such foul treachery from those who claim to revere the Watcher demands harsh and swift punishment.
Odrin cannot win in the battle below against the demon. The ritual is Odrin's. With his death, Demogorgon will be free to leave the Watcher's keep. Imagine, if thou willst, what such a creature would do then.
What do you propose then? Thou hast 3 options. One is to leave. I cannot deny thee this right. The second is to rescue Odrin below. Thou dost owe him nothing, it is true, and battling the prince is a deadly task. Should the prince of demons be destroyed, he is returned only to the abyss. This is better, however, than freeing him loose upon this land. A third and better option is also possible. Helm the All-Seeing has granted me a scroll, a version of the ritual you carried before, but this is Helm's own. It may be used to seal both Odrin and Demogorgon within, and you need not enter the keep to do so. So this is kind of like a bit of a plot hole. Like, if this was available, why couldn't they have strengthened the seals from outside then? But, I don't know, perhaps the Watcher's Keep needed to be cleansed first, or, perhaps it was a test by Helm for these Knights of the Vigil to fulfill their duty, and now that they have failed, he has, resorted to presenting this holy scroll just to keep the evil of the Demogorgon from spreading out into the world. The natural order will scream in protest should this demon prince be allowed to walk freely through the realms. To preserve the balance, we must imprison the creature or send it back to the abyss. Take this ritual scroll as the Watcher's apology to thee, Child of Baal, for the disobedience of his followers. The choice, however, is still ultimately thine. What dost thou wish? And here, Senashira, perhaps never intended for Odrin to die in the clutches of Demogorgon, or maybe has a change of heart here. And, but, we're going to receive the scroll regardless, but we'll say, I won't leave Odrin to Demogorgon's mercies, despite what he's done. Thy compassion has merit, Bald Child. I shall entrust Helm's scroll with thee regardless, should you decide to alter your decision. Take the scroll, and should you wish to use it, do so out here, in the open, outside of the prison. Read it aloud and thou art done. All entrances to the prisons will be sealed. Go with Helm's blessing, Child of Baal. Be safe, and be wary of thy destiny. So we get some more experience for that. We dropped our thing. Here's Helm's true scroll that we are not going to use because, of course, we want to have a fight, right? I'm sure you've waited for it to happen. But basically, well, let's first enter. Basically, the most, just before we enter and kind of proceed with the action, basically I think the most optimal way of doing this whole thing is, I guess if you are suspicious of that Imprisoned One, is to, strengthen the seal and then trick him to let you out, and then just kind of talk with the Knights of the Vigil, forgive them, and that's it. The Demogorgon would be imprisoned safely in Watcher's Keep with the seals renewed, and that would be it. But, of course, this is how things have proceeded here. Now we can go back, and we are not going to be quick enough to save Odrin or the other Knights of the Vigil. We are going to find them dead. Yeah, there they go. And before we go down there and check what's up, we are going to have to do some pre-buffs. And basically now I'm going to, because the pre-buff process is going to be a little lengthy, I am going to apply all of the lengthy buffs like Chaotic Commands, Death Wards, Stone Skins, Protection from Evil, Remove Fear, Protection from Fire, all that kind of thing, myself here, and I'm going to be back in a second for some finishing touches. So see you in a moment. Alright, there we go. So we have applied Chaotic Commands, Death Wards, Protection from Evil, Remove Fear, Stone Skins and Iron Skins, and also Protection from Fire on Senashira. But when it comes to Imoen, she is going to need to use a scroll. and also Animan has a green scroll to use. Now when it comes to our equipment, I have used one charge of the gargoyle boots to give even Saravok some stone skins. Of course, these are only provide 2 skins, but it's better than nothing. And now when it comes to the stuff we're wearing, Seneshira is going to be equipped with the Iron Stone that Kirinai normally uses to boost her Thako and hit points, and she also has the Ring of Gax equipped for the immunity to disease, which is going to become clear once we start talking about Demogorgon himself. Also, everybody who can is going to be equipped with the Wand of Spell Striking, because we are going to need a lot of breach in this encounter. Also, she has the Rune Hammer prepared, but not using it just yet. Jaheira is going to be protected against fire. She has the Roranax Horn for that crushing resistance, and she also received the Gauntlets of Extraordinary Specialization for this fight, at least. Now, when it comes to Animan, he is going to be protected against fire somewhat, at least until dispelled, because this green scroll, the Helm of the Rock, and his Armor of Faith are going to give him some nice resistances. He also has the Ring of Anti-Venom. We are going to be in need of being protected against poison damage specifically. So Jaheira is going to have her natural protection. Seneshira has the Ring of Gax. Animan is going to have the Ring of Anti-Venom, and Kirinai has her Thieves' Hood. That gives her that 100 poison resistance. She also is protected nicely against fire. She has Janssen's armor, and she also has some scrolls and the Book of Infinite Spells prepared. Imoen is kind of back to her usual selection, and Saravok is protected against fire somewhat with Shurpak's Plate and the Helm of Brilliance. He is also going to support himself with the Potion of Magic Shielding. After some remove magics fly around, probably. He's not going to use it just yet, but yeah, that's going to be our equipment selection for now. So now let's continue with some spell buffs. We're definitely going to need some spell shields. Well, actually, let's cancel that order. Let's give Imoen and Animan a chance to apply their fire protections. Let's do this kind of methodically, and also we need spell shield on Kirinai as well. She is going to be in need of that. Alright, now we can use the spell shields on everyone. Now Kirinai is going to get spell turning from the book. Imoen is going to get spell trap from the Staff of the Magi, and Seneshira has spell turning memorized. We're also going to give the Shield of the Archons on our divine casters. They're also going to get some Armors of Faith, and here we are going to give Kirinai some mirror images. Our mages are going to do that as well. And you might have noticed this scroll over here with the Black Blade of Disaster. This is going to be the first time we're going to use this. We have 4 scrolls of Black Blade of Disaster in total, as it turns out. But yeah, this is a very, very damaging weapon. It has a base of 2 to 24 damage, but it also has that +5 enchantment on it for basically 7 to 29, and it's, you know, from bonuses from strength and from Grand Mastery, this is just a very, very damaging weapon that can also drain levels and heal. We don't have to worry about this disintegration in this fight, because opponents are either immune to it or don't drop any loot that would be lost in the process of disintegration anyway. So this is going to be great, especially on a Kansai, who of course with Kai can maximize the damage of such a weapon. So we are going to be looking to do that, and she also has the spell immunity to abjuration as her final buff. Alright, Animan has his Armor of Faith as well. Now we are going to give him Righteous Magic. And we are going to give him Regeneration, I guess. With these spell turnings and Shield of the Archons, he can't really buff up anyone else, and this is not a buff that you want to apply like before such things. Anyway, because it doesn't last for a long time. So we are going to use that on Animan, and I think on Saravok we're going to give him Regeneration. Alright, we're going to start applying some True Seeings already, just to have some going on. We basically need some True Seeing, True Sight at the beginning of the encounter. Now, Imoen is going to haste everybody. Alright, we're going to apply some Globes of Invulnerability. Alright, I think Anomen is going to get the drop on Holy Might.
What is it?
After Imoen is done casting, we are going to have a true sight on her, and now is going to be the time for some improved hastes. So we are going to use our Cloak of Protection on Jaheira and Senashira to get improved haste from that, and oh yeah, you don't have the Darkfire bow prepared on you. Alright, we're almost done here.
What is it now?
Anomen. I think we are done with you for now.
What is it?
And finally, after these spell immunities to Abjuration, we are going to cast Limited Wish. And yeah, Kiranai, with her weapon, looking at 25 to 47 damage with her Black Blade of Disaster. That is what we're talking about.
Certainly.
So already gotta move on a little bit. Here we're going to want a repeatable wish to get minor globes on everyone else. And this is going to make sense as soon as we start talking about the Imprisoned One here. So yeah, of course, our Knights of the Vigil friends, or perhaps not really friends, have already perished. Odren is here dying. We're going to be able to have a little follow-up with him at the end. But yeah, now let's just move in.
Demogorgon is free. Death my scepter and gain my crown. The Prince of Demons will lose sweet destruction.
Yeah, so he no longer needs to, like, cloak his evil essence from us, and he is going to show himself. So yeah, when it comes to Demogorgon, with both Ascension and SCS, this is quite a fight, actually. But before we talk about his stats, I just wanted to address his double heads here. It's pretty cool that in the lore they actually have different names. They are Amul and Hethradaya, and they actually are kind of in a battle with each other, because Amul relishes deception and Hethradaya prefers destruction. So different approaches, I guess, to different endeavors of the Demogorgon. But anyway, he is level 30. He has 435 HP and regenerates 10 HP per second. And this normally doesn't work in the Enhanced Edition version of Ascension, but I did restore it. Then he has 5 attacks per round. He basically is immune to everything, basically almost all of the elements. I think he only has 50 cold. Has 90 magic resistance. He is immune to basically every debilitating effect. He is immune to time stop. He is essentially immune to spells from levels 1 to 7, including lower resistance, by the way, although you can lower his magic resistance through Pierce Shield and Pierce Magic, but he has a spell that actually restores his magic resistance, so that it really isn't the greatest idea either. He requires +3 weapons to be hurt, has a -16 armor class, or -20 actually with his Aura of Flaming Death that he's going to start out with, and -19 Thaco. And now his 5 attacks per round, they can both disease and drain 2 levels. And basically, that level drain is very unique, because you can, first of all, save against it. There is a save versus spell with a -4 penalty on it. And it's also considered as a level 1 spell. So our minor globes of invulnerability are going to be able to stop it. And also, this can be stopped for a while until our protections of that nature are drained by spell turning, Shield of the Archon, spell trap, that kind of thing. So yeah, very kind of weird implementation of his level drain mechanic here. But also that disease. It deals 2 poison damage per second and can stack. And what's problematic about this is that, it's in a form of a disease, not poison. So immunities to poison, like status effect, of course don't don't affect it. And once you have a couple of stacks of this disease, even if you have 100 poison resistance, like we are going to have on 4 of our characters, it still is going to tick for like 0 damage. And that, as all damage sources like that, can still interrupt our spells even if we don't receive actual damage from it. So if we have a couple of stacks on a spellcaster of ours, it's going to be really difficult to get a spell off. So that's why we wanted to prevent that whole thing altogether with our Ring of Gax that just makes us immune to disease. So Senashira is not going to be able to get that disease stacked on her at all, and she is going to be safe from that kind of interruption. Also, she is kind of the hardest one to dispel disease off of, because she doesn't have any ways to dispel disease on her own, which of course you can affect yourself with some personal spells, even if you have like Minor Globe active on yourself or spell turning. But if those spells come from other people, then they won't work. But other people, like Jaheira has Cure Disease and has Neutralize Poison. Both our Divine Casters and Kiranai can use our Staff of Curing that cures disease as well. And Imoen has her special Ball Spawn ability, Neutralize Poison as well, so she can remove that from herself. But Senashira doesn't have anything of her own, and she is well protected with magical protections, so it would be difficult to take that kind of disease off of her if we want to ensure that her next spell is successful. So anyway, Demogorgon also has some spells. He has a lot of normal spells, like he can renew Stone Skin a lot, like every other turn he can renew it. He has Implosion, Storm of Vengeance, Earthquake, Dragon's Breath, and he has a trio of very dangerous dispelling spells because he has Remove Magic, Breach, and Spell Strike. So over time, your magic protections are going to kind of get worn down. He also has Finger of Death. That's one of the reasons that we are protected with death wards. But when it comes to his special spells, he can dominate other demons if you summon your own against him, but that doesn't really work in how it happens. Basically, he immediately recognizes a demon being summoned, and then once they are actually properly appear, he already uses his domination gaze and doesn't actually dominate the demon. It just says spell ineffective. So in this version, it kind of doesn't really work too much. I kind of wanted to show that off, but there's no easy way to fix it, and it doesn't really matter in our encounter. We're just not going to use demons here. He also has a Beguiling Gaze and an Insanity Gaze, and they can either charm or confuse the target. They also reduce magic resistance and save versus spell. And he also has his Demogorgon Gate, which is a spell that's kind of a multi-purpose spell. It heals him for 50 HP, it restores his 90 magic resistance, and it also normally has a chance to summon some demons, but I kind of upgraded the spell a little bit to give it a 100% chance to summon both a Marilith and a Baldur. So we're going to have some fun with that. And yeah, basically the best tactic to engage Demogorgon is to just quickly dispel him and then just rush him with everyone with physical damage. Ignore everything else that's going to take place and just DPS him down quickly. But we are not going to use that kind of strategy. We are going to first kill all of his minions and always aim to kill his minions before we turn our attention to him. And his minions are actually a large part of this encounter, so once they show up we're going to talk about them. But now that we have spawned him, we are going to want to kind of spread out a little bit. We are going to use hardness on Saravok already, and I would like to spread out because one of his first spells is going to be that Storm of Vengeance. I don't want it to be like in the middle of the battlefield, but at the same time I don't want to be near the edges of the battlefield, because once he spawns his initial minions, they can easily like get a character surrounded, and that's going to be just really fatal. He also deals crushing damage with his attacks, by the way. That's why we have the Roranax helm on Jaheira. She also has Iron Skins, so she should be quite protected against his attacks, at least for now. We're going to leave Imoen behind here. Hanuman, Kiranai, Saravok, you can go onto the other side. We're going to have Senashira here, perhaps. And we're going to try to go with Jaheira onto the western side. Yeah, he of course has some pre-buffs. He has Stone Skins, Aura, Flaming Death, Spell Turning, and Protection from Magical Weapons. So we're going to aim to dispel that Spell Turning, because we're going to need a lot of breaches on this guy as the encounter progresses. But yeah, let's just position ourselves nicely here. I think I interrupted Saravok's hardiness, and he actually did not, he did not use it. I am going to have to use it soon. I wanted to have it for this time stop, but fortunately he went for Senashira, and Senashira is well protected with mirror images, stone skins, and he cannot stack that that disease on her. However, now that he used his spell here, Summon the Abyssal Host. That's such a cool name for a spell. It's just an awesome name. Summon the Abyssal Host. That summons 2 Glabrezu, 1 Balor, 1 Merilith, and 1 Cambion, who is basically a fighter mage of level 20, very similar to the Warden from the Planar Prison. So he is actually going to have a lot of pre-buffs, a lot of spells at his disposal, and he actually has 50 physical resistance. A very nasty opponent. He's going to be our main opponent aside from Demogorgon in this encounter. Of course, you know, Balors and Meriliths are very, very dangerous as well, but we are going to have ways to deal with them quicker, I guess. And the Cambion is going to just stay alive for a while. And his pre-buffs are not going to trigger correctly during this time stop, but yeah, Senashira is kind of surrounded by these demons. I think she is going to be able to escape to the west. We'll see. Alright, here's that Storm of Vengeance. It's going to be placed here in the north. That's good. Let's try to escape. Now, Saravok... Okay, let's actually first wait for the pre-buffs of this Cambion and see what he is going to have to offer to us. Oh my god, Senashira is actually trapped there. We are going to have to free her by killing someone quickly. And there is a horrid wilting coming onto her. So this Cambion has both immunity to divination and to conjuration, which means that he is not immune to abjuration, which is very nice. His illusions were dispelled already, but since he is not immune to abjuration, I am going to unleash... I mean, I would like to unleash the triple remove magic spell sequencer that Senashira has, but I think a higher priority is to give her protection from magical weapons before anything nasty happens here. We are going to cast 1 remove magic from Imoen, and we are going to also... Now we need to do this properly. We have a wand of spell striking on Kirinai, but we also have some abilities on Kirinai that I would like to use. I think we're just going to have to cut through like this Glabrezu, I think, on the eastern side. And we don't really need to cast anything to get to him, so let's attack that Glabrezu with everyone. Just making sure that we don't end up in a big traffic jam. Unfortunately, we are going to all have to step into that Storm of Vengeance, but we are mostly protected against poison, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, Senashira got her protection from magical weapons successfully. Alright, that's cool. Even though she... Oh, she might be able to actually go out here because this Glabrezu moved. Let's actually try to move our characters then. Spread them out a little bit. Oh yeah, and get out of that nasty situation. Alright, Spell Paralysis was cast on Senashira. This is not going to work because she has Globe. Now, the first order of business is going to be dispelling this Cambion. We're going to see about our remove magic, how it's going to work. Now, since Saravok has kind of a free round to do something, we are going to cast the Rod, or the Ruby Ray of Reversal coming from the Rod of Reversal onto Demogorgon to get rid of his spell turning for later. And just so we already are finished with that. Now, once Imoen is free, we're going to do something with her, but we need to unleash our breaches. 1 onto the Merilith, and 1 is going to go onto the Balor. Alright, just to get rid of their physical protections. That Cambion unfortunately moved. Perhaps we can get him in the... No, we cannot. I wanted to get him in the range of that remove magic. So I think we're going to change our plans once again. Instead of using the Wand of Spell Striking on Senashira, we are going to unleash our triple remove magic kind of in the middle of all this. And now we can proceed and attack the Merilith. She is dispelled for sure.
I await your command.
What is it? Direct me as you will. Yep, good to go.
Yeah, the Merilith is taking some damage. Alright, our remove magic was successful. Let's now go on to the Cambion with at least some of our people here. Start shooting. Power Word Blind was cast on Saravok, reducing his stack a little bit, but this is not going to matter all that much for now. There's also a Firestorm. That Merilith died. That is very, very good. Now let's actually move on to this Cambion. As you can see, Kiranai already is diseased. She was attacked by Demogorgon, and this disease, you know, stacks and takes for 2 poison damage per second, but she is going to be immune to that damage thanks to her Thieves' Hood. Let's actually... Alright, the Cambion has a contingency with protection from magical weapons, so we actually need to see what kind of spell protections it had. It has minor spell turning, and then just immunity to divination, conjuration. I think we might get away with just casting a remove magic in there. And I think Kiranai now should be free to cast Breach on the Baldur. And we should be able to just switch targets onto the Baldur for a moment here. Actually, let's attack the Glabrezu in the meantime, before all of our spells get unleashed. And I think there was, yeah, Deathbringer's Assault from Saravok. Thank you for allowing us to deal with one of these Glabrezu quickly. Right, I think... let me just see what spells were unleashed. Yeah, our Breach was unleashed on the Baldur successfully. We are going to be able to get to him quickly. And Imoen seems to have unleashed her remove magic as well. And we're going to see if we're going to be able to attack the Cambion successfully here. Alright, Breach was cast on Sir Animan, and also this Beguiling Gaze on Kiranai. We are protected against that, so that's no problem for now. Alright, it seems we are dealing damage to that Baldur. So let's just proceed with our targeting correctly, and let's see if that Cambion is... wow! Okay, we actually... are able to get to the Cambion, and Imoen's damage actually apparently interrupted his spell. So that's very nice. Once this Baldur is dealt with, we are going to go and deal with that Cambion, who should be out of his tricks by now. It's just kind of checking our health situation. Most of us are diseased already. Well, maybe not most of us, but some of us. Oh yeah, and even though there is this... energy drain icon here coming from Demogorgon's attacks, she is actually, you know, not level drained because she is still kind of protected against the actual effect. It's just that the portrait icon shows up there. But it's incorrect. Alright, all of the minions are dealt with. Now let's get to that Cambion. It doesn't receive too much damage because of its 50 physical resistance, but it went down alright, and now we can breach Demogorgon himself. Actually, didn't really get to showcase a lot of what I planned for the Black Blade of Disaster, but he might use his Demogorgon Gate and summon some more minions, and then we might be able to get to him. Alright, now his Aura of Flaming Death and his Stone Skins are dispelled. We can get to him for a little bit. We are dealing some really good damage, especially from Kiranai. And I think on Kiranai we might activate Kai, and that was interrupted by this disease. Even innate abilities, although they're not really supposed to be interrupted, you know, can be interrupted by this poison damage. I think the component from 8 weeks only fixes like fighter high level abilities and not actually innate abilities such as Kai. So that's very unfortunate that it got interrupted, because I wanted to maximize damage of that Black Blade of Disaster. And I also wanted to showcase Assassination here, because a lot of demons are not immune to backstab, and that's why if he does manage to summon some more demons of his, he's already badly injured. Actually, let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance to do that. Let's just kind of keep healing. He just renewed his Stone Skin this time. Let's kind of just keep ourselves protected here. Saravok might even get some mirror images here. You still have your Armor of Faith, you have all the stuff you need. Jahira could use Hardiness, but Perhaps it's not going to be necessary. Alright, here he does this. Come, my minions. So he summons in a Merilith and a Baldur. And now we're going to be able to do this properly. Well, if we do this properly, it's going to be cool. So we are going to breach the Merilith, and we're going to breach the Baldur. We're going to do it from Senashira and Imoen. And hopefully we are going to be able to activate Assassination here on Kirinai, which is going to be... which is going to allow her to backstab the Merilith and Baldur, regardless of her positioning. She could, of course, use Mislead as well, but then she would have to actually be cautious of her positioning. And I'm kind of also, you know, always kind of against using Mislead in that way. Oh yeah, Assassination worked. So now that they are dispelled, we can kind of go in with Kirinai and just backstab them to death. Boom! Just a quick 110 and 130 damage to the Merilith. Now, please take care of the Baldur. Oh, that was her offhand attack. Come on, quickly! Let's actually get Sarvok out of there, because there's a remove magic coming onto us. I think the Merilith also unleashed a Cloud Kill, and here we can see the Black Blade of Disaster actually draining 4 levels off of the Baldur. Alright, and he is no more after some backstabs. That's very nice. You are still diseased, Kirinai, unfortunately. I wanted to maximize the damage of her Black Blade of Disaster just to destroy Demogorgon like that, but we would have to... Okay, it actually stopped. It expired, I should say, because that disease, I think it only lasts for like 5 or 6 rounds or something like that, each stack of it. Alright, now we have Kai on Kirinai. We are going to need to breach Demogorgon again, because of course he renewed his Stone Skins earlier, and now we're going to be able to deliver some max damage to him. He does have 10 physical resistance, but other than that, yeah, 43 damage with every strike from Kirinai. That's pretty cool. Let's just be on top of our healing here. He has another Stone Skin. Let's use another Breach. Okay, that went off. Kirinai needs to heal, and he's badly injured. Now he dies kind of in a cutscene, and with his monster's regeneration, sometimes he is a little picky when it comes to when that decides to trigger, but yeah, there it is. No, this cannot be! Well, I beg to differ.
What is it, if it must be done?
And boom, 100,000 personalized experience. Like, this is another just nuclear bomb of experience, this whole last sequence. And basically, Odrin still hanging on strong. He can't die here. So sometimes the demons like attack him actually instead of your party members.
I shall go forth at your command.
Alright, let's have a little chat with him.
Thank you.
We meant for you to perform our duty, to trap yourself within along with the demon. We thought ourselves too important to sacrifice, but a ball spawn? It was wrong of us, grievously wrong. Helm, forgive us. Demogorgon is now released back to the abyss, but he is gone from this place at least. So yeah, this is of course not perfect, not ideal. You know, if you just renew the seals and go with certain outcomes that, you know, just trap Demogorgon here, this is the perfect kind of outcome role-playing wise, I guess. But of course we wanted to see the fight. We wanted to play the fight. I wanted to have some fun. This is really an awesome fight. But yeah, this is not perfect, of course, because Demogorgon is now returned to the Abyss, and he is going to be able to like regenerate himself there and marshal some forces and perhaps, you know, cause some trouble in the future. But at least he wasn't able to free himself and just create a rampage on the Prime Material Plane. It was a valiant fight, no? Perhaps we were truer to Helm in death than in life. Please, Senashira, forgive us. Yeah, unfortunate end for the Knights of the Vigil, although something that they likely deserved. And yeah, we didn't need our rune hammer. Let me just quickly make some space for these basic items. They don't have anything that special. but we want to get all this loot from the Knights of the Vigil. Oh, our improved hastes expired just now. That's perfect. They lasted for as long as they needed to. And yeah, basically there's a trick still. So now, of course, Demogorgon is no more. He is banished to the Abyss. Right, here's a flail +3 from a Baldur. But there is a trick. We still have that scroll of Helm that would renew the seals if we are outside. And basically what you can do is if you go outside now, and if you are fast enough, if you just pause the game and read that scroll, you can get another 80,000 experience. Although this is something that I'm not going to do. This is, you know, kind of not intended. But yeah, before the scroll kind of vanishes, you can quickly read it and get some more experience. We're just going to leave though, and be done with Watcher's Keep now. Truly, finally, ultimately done with the whole place. Yeah, the Helm Scroll disappears. So before that happens, you can use it and, you know, get some more experience out of the whole deal, but you cannot say that we haven't gotten a ton of experience from the whole last sequence, I guess, regarding Demogorgon. But yeah, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our fight, and stay tuned for a little bonus that I want to showcase with some other outcomes. One also containing some actions when it comes to dealing with the Knights of the Vigil. So I'll see you in a moment. Hey again, and welcome to a little bonus. Here we are about to speak to the Knights of the Vigil after our first encounter with the Imprisoned One, and explore a different conversation path, one that is ultimately going to lead to a fight, and give us an opportunity to demonstrate something cool. So here we are with Imoen, who is equipped with both the Amulet of Power and the Robe of Vecna, and these items together are going to improve her casting speed by 5. We have also rested and reworked her spell library, also cast some protective spells on her already, and I have enabled this auto-pause setting in the options, and that is going to automatically pause the game for us whenever a spell is successfully cast by one of our party members. And we have done all that in order to showcase the power of improved alacrity combined with faster casting speed. So now we can ascend the stairs again and have that conversation with Odrin, but this time we're going to be upfront with him and tell him that Demogorgon still lives and told us to come up here and trick the Knights of the Vigil to come to him. And we are not going to do so. You agreed to... So the Great Demon has not been destroyed? You successfully cast the ritual and persuaded the beast to enable you to escape? As opposed to sealing myself in there with it forever? I am ashamed, Senashira. I am ashamed at my cowardice and my pride, believing us too important and Helm's judgment too harsh to command us to enter the keep and seal ourselves within. The Imprisoned One is none other than Demogorgon, Prince of Demons. We did not think he could be defeated, and so we sought someone else to take our place and seal the demon within the keep. Oh, Brother Odrin, I cannot believe that a fellow Hellmite would fall so far as to believe that any other person was expendable for the sake of avoiding his own duty. For shame! And if you don't have Sir Animan, it is Jaheira who interjects here, with a similar notion. And you succeeded in what should have been our duty. We are disgraced in the eyes of Helm. To think that you, a ballspawn, were less worthy. It is a great misdeed. Can you forgive a foolish man? And if we do, they are going to vow to go on to a pilgrimage to redeem themselves in the eyes of Helm, and you get +1 reputation for that and 10,000 personalized experience. But we're of course here to do the fight. So, retribution is at hand, fool. We are going to take our own revenge upon the Knights of the Vigil on this separate save. What else could one expect from a child of Baal? Despite what we have done, it shall be Helm who judges us, not you. To arms, brethren. Alright, so there's 6 of them. Odrin is a level 20 fighter cleric. Brother Paul is a cleric mage, level 15 in cleric and 14 in mage. And then we have Sister Garlena, who is a level 20 cleric. And finally we have these 3 Vigil Knights. This one is a level 20 fighter, this one is a level 20 cleric, and the last one is a level 20 mage. So at quite high levels they are going to have tons of pre-buffs, but we are going to deal with them no problem anyway. So we are going to get some distance on M1 here and cast this time drop from a scroll. And that's for a couple of reasons. First of all, her 9 level spells that she memorized, are way more important, and we had the spare time stop scroll here that we could use. Also to showcase the interaction that this improved casting speed that she receives from the Robe of Vecna and the Amulet of Power actually does not affect spells cast from scrolls. What speeds spells cast from scrolls is actually being hasted, which is a very weird interaction, but that's how it works. Also, casting spells from scrolls is not going to trigger our auto pause, so I'm going to have to pause the game manually once we have that active. But anyway, let's check it out. All of their pre-buffs, of course, trigger. There's a ton of that stuff, and yeah, that time stop is very long considering her boosts to casting speed, but now it is in effect, and we can cast our improved alacrity here. Alright, and now it paused correctly, and we have this enabled to be as optimal as possible when it comes to improved alacrity, so that we can keep chain casting spells one after another without any wasted time between the completion of one spell and the start of another. So now we are going to, well, first let's throw out some remove magics onto them to dispel some of their protections. As you can see, they are basically cast instantly. Next up we have some dragon breaths for them. So there's one. There's another. We have some horrid wiltings, 3 of them, that I've memorized for this purpose. They're slightly longer to cast, but still greatly sped up. We're basically going to be able to dump our whole spellbook onto them here. Now when it comes to this, we have some summoned war dogs, but this Vigil Knight, this fighter, we are going to give him all 4 of our magic missiles here. Oh, I cast that one on myself, apparently. And there he is, slightly in front of Imoen. We can also give him this Melf's Acid Arrow. We can cast Glitter Dust. Basically, I specifically memorized some spells like this that you could normally throw out there, like Emotion Hopelessness. We have Chaos with us. We have a Cone of Cold that is also going to be cast instantly. We can cast True Sight. What else? We have this Delayed Blast Fireball. And I think that's going to be it. That should be sufficient. Now let's just wait until the time stop is over. And boom! They got completely destroyed by that once time resumed its course. So yeah, we can just inspect our numbers here. Mostly coming, well, this Cone of Cold, but numbers mostly coming from our horrid wiltings, of course. And the Dragon Breaths here. Some magic missiles unleashed upon this Vigil Knight. Yep. So there we go. Odrin and his treacherous Vigil Knights have received what was coming to them. Not from Helm, but from us personally. So anyway, just a cool little bonus where I wanted to showcase a couple of things. Now that we had the tools, we could showcase this really quick speed casting. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.